The Big Bad Broadcast was invited to a special live event at Mar-a-Lago. Trump feels he was not treated very well at the DNC and wanted to respond. So let's go there.
Is that Hail to the Grief Man?
Hey, we got a lot of people in this room, man. We got Mitch McConnell. We have Eric Trump, which he doesn't speak anyway. We don't need to talk to him. We got Tim Scott. We have Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, and look, there's RFK.
Oh, yeah. Don't talk to that guy.
No.
And we have, of course, Donald Trump. Let's go right to Donald Trump, see how you doing. Hey, Donnie, what's up?
You know, this is why I didn't even want to come on this failing show. You know, it's people, even people who don't like me say, Mr. President, sir, but now John has to say, Donnie, it's called respect. Okay. And this is, I expect nothing less from the nasty radical left. But now we, as you said before, when you were making sense, I haven't been treated fairly. Actually, it's called not fairly how I've been treated.
Well, these actors today, John, now, I didn't exactly wasn't familiar with your work, so I had to look you up, and I saw that your first career, you started out on 1992 in Home Alone 2 with Macaulay Culkin. What was that like? What was it like to work with Macaulay Culkin?
You know, it was very interesting because I remember my great friend Jeff Epstein, rest in peace. He kept asking me, does Macaulay have any friends that are maybe girls? Would they like to, is there any chance that they'd like to go on an all expenses paid trip? And I said, no, I don't talk to, I don't let the talent talk to me. I like my process is more like
Right.
I stay isolated on the set. But a lot of people have said Home Alone 2 is the greatest sequel in history, and I know the Godfather 2 people aren't too happy about that, but a
That's,
lot of experts say it's the best.
yes, and well, you would have had to fight Michael Jackson for Macaulay anyway, but
Why do you still think you're president?
In 2020, this was a very big year in our history, a very sad year, by the way. First of all, you had the China virus. That was tough. We got through it, but that was tough thanks to my
the
vaccines
Wuhan flu.
called Warp Speed. Remember that? Warp Speed. The left doesn't like to talk about Warp Speed, but I did Warp Speed, not them. And then an election where I won more votes than any president in history, and then they say I lost to Sleepy Joe by 7 million votes. This can't be. It's just not something that's possible. We knew it was a theft from day one. And
you
so
have
when somebody
you have
steals
evidence
something
of that,
from you,
right? I mean, I know there's a lot of evidence out there that the election was stolen from you. So did you
we have
present that?
well, we're waiting for the right time to present the evidence.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
And it's actually, I think some of it is actually being safe kept in some of Mike Lindell's pillows and
Right.
also in his new slippers, by the way.
Yeah.
So, and I look at my daughter sometimes and I say, she should be with somebody so much stronger and more powerful and wealthier and maybe
Agree.
older,
Totally
maybe a
agree.
few decades older, like the right experience.
Right.
And, and some people say, well, sir, it sounds like you're describing yourself. And I go, well, you know what? If the condom fits, as we say in the Trump family. What was his name? Matthew Ali, the boxer. Remember Matthew Ali? He would say, I'm the prettiest. I sting like a bumblebee and I,
float like a
fuck
bee.
like a rabbit. Something.
Yes.
He'd say something. And he would do these, and everybody said, oh, it's so charismatic. He says he's pretty. It's so charismatic. But when Trump says it, oh, it's so wrong. This is the bias. And I got to say, I don't think she's bad looking. I never said that. If she was ugly, I would have called her ugly like a dog. But she's not ugly. I just happen to be extremely handsome. So let me ask you guys a question. If Brad Pitt or George Clooney walked in, one of these people the left loves, if they walked in and I said, Mike, John, I think Brad Pitt's better looking than you. You wouldn't say, how dare you? You'd say, well, I'm glad to just be compared to somebody that handsome. And that's what I was actually paying a compliment to Koala Bear Harris by saying, you are beautiful enough that you can actually be compared to me. So it's actually a compliment.
Yeah.
So
Or was it a love seat? I mean, is the left just exaggerating, trying to make fun? It was a love. Why do they call it a love seat for a reason? Would it be the worst thing if he actually banged it?
Well, when we vetted him, we actually made sure he had not had sex with an Ottoman because, of course, that's a man.
Now
and
that's
that would
sick. Now that's sick. That would be
that
sick.
would be homosexual furniture sex, which
Right.
is obviously not in the Bible.
Right.
But no, I think what people don't realize is, and I got to be honest, because I love the poorly educated. Okay, I love the poorly educated. We love Ohio. It's a great Trump state. They used to call it a battleground state, and I won the battle. I think I won the war for Ohio. It's now a strong red state. But I've seen some of the women in JD's town,
Right.
and I got to be honest, I'd probably fuck couches too if I
Yeah.
lived there.
I got
Yeah,
I got to
not
go
too
along
many
with you.
beauties. Not too many beauties going on over there.
You got Eric. You got the pretty girl. What's that other? What's that? The big.
Oh, I think Beetlejuice or Brendan or something. Barton,
That sounds right.
Bernie. I think
Ber-
Bernie maybe.
Bernie.
Bernie,
Bernie.
he's a tall guy.
I
That's
heard he's
ringing a
taller.
bell.
I heard he's taller than you.
No, that's actually radical left cameras and Photoshop. They
False
take it to this
perception. Yeah.
place. Well, they take the photos, they see how tall I am and strong I am, and then they bring it to this place called the Photoshop, which I guess and we're looking for it, by the way, because they've been doing a lot of illegal photography things at the Photoshop. And, people bring them the photos of me, and then all of a sudden they make them look very weird and very fake.
So Don, how bad is your cocaine problem? The world wants to know.
This is what the left is saying. They say, Don, first of all, have you seen Hunter Biden? Have you seen Hunter Biden? That's what a coke problem looks like. I don't have, like, my dad wanted to make America great again, and I should have told him, no, Dad, don't do that. Don't make America great because then they're going to come after your son. They're going to come after me, Dad. This is what's wrong, and I see that you guys look like you might be my dad's supporters, but it turns out, like, we can just see you guys are obviously like radical left in disguise. And, I don't have a cocaine problem. If anything, Kimberly, my very hot sex doll past the expiration date, is stealing my
What's
pharmaceuticals.
her full name?
Kimberly
Like
Gargoyle.
tinfoil or something. Gargoyle. Tinfoil.
I heard that you were responsible really for getting JD Vance.
Yeah, well, JD he is a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He's a talented guy. He's like almost the younger brother I never had. And he's just, he likes hunting, and we both have sort of similar facial hair. And, it's just, it's nice to have, my dad is great. Like if you'd admit the truth, you'd know my dad is great and great for the country. But it's basically the next generation. I think JD is the next generation of MAGA. Okay,
Tim
and it's
Scott's
Well,
here.
thank you, Junior.
Thank you, Junior.
yeah.
And
Okay, like thanks for like. I wouldn't expect any less from John just to say like not even say goodbye. We knew Mike was at least a decent guy.
I'll be
We may
contacting
disagree,
you
but
for Kimberly's number because I do need to purchase some. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
thank you,
okay,
Don.
well, make
Thank
sure
you.
John's
Thank you,
not
Don.
there.
Thank you, Don Junior. The evil spawn of your father. So, Tim Scott, were you really disappointed that Donald Trump did not ask you to be the vice president?
No, John, I was not disappointed because we don't live in a racist country. Just to be considered for vice president by our great president, Donald J. Trump, was such an honor. Just to be, you have to understand, before I was a senator, I tried to rent an apartment in one of Donald Trump's buildings, and he called security on me and
Wow.
said, "Get that darky out of my building."
Wanted to make sure you were safe. I mean, I get that.
But then when I became a senator and he wanted to win over votes, he suddenly saw the light
Wow.
and saw that I was human. And it's that kind of growth that I see in our country every day that makes me realize we are not racist.
Wow. Did he promise you anything if you should become his running mate? I mean, did he offer you any kind of positions or,
He
I mean,
said to me, Tim, the main reason I'm not picking you is because you're not married and there's rumors about what you like in the bedroom. So I went to my best heterosexual friend, Lindsey Graham, and said, Lindsay, do you know any women who might like to marry a senator? And he said, I have a lady I used to bring with me to parties.
oh,
Maybe she'd be game. And 12 hours later, we were engaged.
that's beautiful. I'm tearing
What
over
was her
here.
name?
we
Mindy?
were,
Her name was Mindy?
her name is Mindy, and she and I are in heterosexual love with each other.
That's amazing.
Urban spot on my cabinet that Ben Carson was in. And I said, wow, to follow in the footsteps of the great Ben Carson doing urban stuff for
Wow.
our president, Donald J. Trump.
Right. Which means he probably have you in the garage waxing the cars and stuff like that, right? Wasn't that was that the is that the
And
urban section
also,
in the White House?
well, it's actually, they've redone it. It's by the shoe shine stand.
Ah, okay.
Oh my
Does
God.
does Trump tip good when you shine his shoes?
When I shine his shoes, he tries to give me a crisp dollar bill, and I say, just like Jesus wanted to undo the sandals to show his humility and wash feet, I said, keep your money, sir. Just touching your shoes is an honor.
So I have a political question for you, Mitch. How come you always say anything a Democrat puts across your desk is dead?
Well, first of all, I've been watching this charade that you've been going on, and once again, Mike proves to have manners, and John is rude. Didn't even say hello.
I
But
did say hello to you.
no, I didn't hear it. So speak louder. But what I will say is, Democrats in this country don't have the nation's best interests at heart. And I consider it my duty as a patriot to stop their agenda.
But you flip flop on everything. After the insurrection, you called Trump. You said it was an insurrection. He was responsible for it. And now all of a sudden, it's like there's a celebration of the heroes of the insurrection, and he wants to pardon them all.
Well, as you know, I'm a senator, and the presidency is not something I'm concerned with. But Donald Trump and I have come to an agreement. We agree that him insulting me, insulting my wife, calling me names, and almost getting me killed on January 6th is all water under the turtle shell.
There you go. Well, now, that was probably the only positive thing about January 6th. What I wanted to ask you, Mitch, is, or Mr. McConnell, I'll have that respect. What was it like at the signing of the Declaration of Independence?
Well, I will tell you this. Thomas Jefferson came up to me and said, what do you think about this, Mitch? All men are created equal. And I looked at him and I said, what about the blacks? And I refused to sign it under the even suggestion that the blacks were equal to us. And that's called integrity.
Well, thank you for your honest
I
opinion.
called Thomas Jefferson a woke lib cuck.
So that's where that's where this originates. Those sayings that goes back that far.
It really does.
So, Mr. McConnell, how old are you, and how many years have you been in politics?
Well, they don't really measure my age in human or even turtle years. I'm told that I've been here for 3 geological ages. So I
There you
actually
go.
managed to hide when the asteroid came and took out the dinosaurs. I managed to hide pretty well and survive.
Well, now we call you Robert. What do you prefer? Is it Robert, RFK? I mean, it seems kind of formal.
I don't care. You can call me Bobby or Robert or any
You have an obsession with dead animals. Recently, they said you cut a whale's head off with a chainsaw and drove it on the top of your minivan. For what?
Sounds cool to me.
It sends a message that even though I'm a pro-environment lawyer, as you know, I was a big environmental lawyer, I'll still cut a whale's head off to prove that you shouldn't mess with me.
That's a
Yeah,
man after my own
I
heart.
think it was your daughter said that you had it on the head, on the roof of the minivan, bungeed down, and whale juice was coming in the car all over, and they had to drive with plastic bags on their head with eye holes and mouth holes cut out so that they could breathe because it smelled so bad.
That's a rumor. They drive like that anyway. That's the way they always drive.
That is a completely false story. And I am planning to sue my own daughter for defamation.
Now, what I want to know is, do you have the brain worm? Is it in a jar of formaldehyde at home? Do you still have that, or is he still munching away?
I think we need to. I think we need to wrap this up with for the other side of this with Cory Booker and see what he thinks of what just happened with this little press conference.
Oh, equal time, huh?
Equal time, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, take care, RFK, and well, here's is Cory on his way?
Yeah.
I am actually here and
Huh.
I see you. I hear you. You have value. And I am happy to be here because even though I don't agree with the policies of Trump, I think it's important that we all come together in a community of collegial comfort
Hmm.
and contentment so that we as Americans can come together and send a message to all that we are one nation
Wow.
under a groove, getting down for the hell of
It's
it.
an amazing thing. Before we wrap this up, would Donald Trump like to say anything before we
Get the
leave?
hell out of here, Corny Booker. Who the hell let Corny Booker into my beautiful
Corny Booker.
Mar-a-Lago estate?
Well, it's equal
Uh,
time. you
Better
know?
better check the silverware.
Well, you know what? I warned everybody. I warned everybody, all the women, all the white women. I said, you know what? They're going to send Cory Booker to the suburbs. That's what you're going to get. And apparently they didn't realize how scary he was and how threatening he was. And now they know. Now they know. Now the suburbs are very upset. The subways are not safe. There's a lot of Cory Bookers walking around doing crime.
Well, if there's one thing you want to say about if you get reelected, and what are you going to do for the nation? We can wrap it up with that. What's your promise to the nation if you get reelected?
We are going to have peaceful executions of my enemy.
Hmm.
We are going to have very peaceful,
Yeah.
very rule of law and very quiet, nothing too crazy so we don't have riots. And we are going to execute my enemies and all the people who betrayed me. And then we will have peace because you have to have peace through strength. And that
Hmm.
strength is going to be mass executions and even more mass graves. And after that, we will have peace and prosperity and wealth and talent and a beautiful country again.
Well, look, John, I am becoming a Donald Trump fan.
I am not.
Well, thank
Well,
you, Mr.
Well,
Trump,
thank you,
for
Mr.
spending your.
President.
Well,
Hey,
Mike, you're welcome. John, you are very nasty. And I will come back, but not if you're here. Not if he's here.
hey, let's have a
Oh.
round of applause for J.L. Covan. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you. All of those.
Hey,
That was
thank you.
excellent. That was all of those voices were brought to you by J.L. Covan. Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was
He
fun.
is an
That was
internet on TikTok sensation. Just go there, man. Almost every day there's a new one. Follow him I do.
And-
We
So you're-
both do.
You're a
Thank you.
stand-up comic, and what's going on? You're